Hello, everybody. Everybody is getting on right now, I am sure. Welcome to Think About It Thursdays, the edition where Cantor Weiss has too much chapstick on. So welcome. I am so excited to have my friend and colleague, Cantor Magda Fishman, on today. If you are here, hello, hi Jay, hi sis, good morning. Magda is backstage right now. I can see her, but she can't see, you can't see her. We are just so happy to have you. I want to wait and give her a grand welcome. If you want to go ahead on Facebook or YouTube and press share, let's invite our friends because sometimes people say they can't find us. So I want to make it as easy as possible. And in just like a matter of seconds, I'm going to invite Magda onto the screen. Let's, 1 second, let me just tag her really quick. All of these things live with Cantor. Magda Fishman. Magda, is that you? Yeah, Magda Fishman. All right, there we go. Okay, are you ready? I feel like I need to hear some like, yeah! I need some, sound effects. Let me turn off this because it'll cover Magda. Alrighty, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Magda. Actually, it is 1 p.m. out in Florida, right?
Yep.
But you are here. We planned this definitely like 2 months ago, and I'm so happy we finally found a time to get together. You know, we met when you were in Los Angeles working here at Temple Beth Am. And since then you've been up in, was it Jersey? Was it?
No, I was actually I had the year 2013. And
That's
I
right.
was in the New York area, and then I was for a short time in Long Island, like for a few months, and then I was 5 years in Stamford, Connecticut.
That's right, Stanford. That's right.
And then I moved to Boca Raton last year.
Crazy, just in time for the pandemic. Well, before we get your whole background, because we are, I was just going to, what was I just going to say? I don't remember what I was going to say except for welcome. So Magda, you know, you're like a superstar and I would love for you to kind of give people a little bit of your background, assuming that people in our world, in the reform world, don't know who you are. Like I could read your bio. That's what I was trying to get to. Was your bio that I have here? Or do you want to give a little bit of info? If not, I could definitely read your bio.
Whatever you want. I'm casual. You said casual.
It's casual. Okay, so it's casual. So Magda, where were you born?
I was born in Tel Aviv, Jaffa, and I was raised in Jaffa. I grew up all the way in Jaffa. I studied afterwards in Tel Aviv. I went to the high school for the arts. I always tell the story that I wanted to be a doctor or a veterinarian, and I was in the special school for nature and science, 7th grade, and I could sing to these frogs, but I could not do anything to them or couldn't check or research. So I think the teachers figured out that I should be moving to the arts high school, and that was a very good decision. And then I continued from there. I was in the army orchestra in Israel. I played trumpet. I was accepted as a trumpet player, and then I became the soloist singer of the Israeli Army Orchestra. And after that, like this is like a shortcut of my story, but I just finished the army, and while I was in the army, I visited the States with my youth orchestra that was from Jaffa. And we visited in Long Island, and I stayed with this very nice family, the Freeds, which you'll see after how the world is small. You will not believe this, how small the world is. So they hosted me when I was in a youth orchestra. And later on, after my army service, I did an audition for Broadway Tel Aviv workshop in the University of Tel Aviv. I was the youngest one, and it was like all these Israeli kind of very famous actors and singers. And I was accepted, and I did a workshop in Israel. And then I was accepted to Manhattan School of Music. And they brought part of people in the workshop to the States to study here with Barbara Cook and Wally Harper of blessed memory, and Jack Lee, and Jane Summerhays, who is my friend and teacher. And the Freeds were the first call when I was asked, well, do you have a place to stay? Wait, I'll go back. So I did this workshop, and I told the teacher that I have a scholarship to the first year of Manhattan School of Music, but I don't have a way to stay in the States. Like, I had about $100 or $150, and it wouldn't keep me going for long. So they asked me, would you go if we find a way? And I said, yeah, I want to study. So they said, who do you know? And the head of the music center, we reached out to her, Dvora Weinstein, who's an amazing woman. And they called this family here, and they emptied one of their rooms and hosted me in Long Island. Later on, the president of my shul in Stanford, his son married their daughter. Many years later.
Wow, that is amazing.
I didn't even know when I applied for the job that they even know each other. So
yeah, go ahead.
So then I came to study in the States, and I was at Manhattan School of Music, and I did the workshop at Juilliard with all this amazing group of people. And one of the nights, there was an honoring to Harold Prince and Barbara Cook, and I sang Cockeyed Optimist. And later on, my dear friend and teacher said that I'm invited because I was commuting from Long Island, and I was going to school and to Juilliard, and it was a lot. So she said, well, there is a family that wants to meet you, and you can stay with them for a little bit during the workshop. So I dressed up in the morning and with a velvet suit. I will never forget that. And I went to meet that family. And there was a man and a woman, Mary and Hank. And they interviewed me, and they said, you can stay with us for the time of the workshop at Juilliard. And that was Mary Rogers of blessed memory, daughter of Richard Rogers, and Hank Gettle. And
I remember your connection to them is so special, and how hard it was when she passed. And
yeah, and they were incredible. And after a week and a half or two, I packed my things, and I said, thank you so much. And she said, where are you going? It's far. I said, well, I took your guest room. So I found myself living in their guest room for the following year and a half, which was unbelievable that these people that hardly just met me gave me a home.
Wow. So I don't think I realized that. So did you do 4 years at Manhattan School of Music?
No, I actually, I continued. I wanted to study acting, and then I got a lead role in Prague State Opera. So I moved to Prague for a few months, or almost like over 6 months. And then when I came back, I was offered to continue to Germany, but I wanted to come back. And Mary said, come back home. And I did. And then I had a phase of, I didn't know what I really want. And I stopped singing. And I walk dogs. And I love dogs. I just love
in New York
dogs.
City.
In New York City.
Yeah.
I really love dogs.
Yeah.
And after a while that I did that, the Israeli consulate and Mary called me and said, what are you doing? I said, I love dogs. He said, but what about the singing and acting? I said, I don't know. They're really nice to me, the dogs. laughing about it, but I do love dogs a
You know,
lot.
we have a lot in common. Number one, you know, I love dogs because my famous Amos is the center of my life. Um, uh, Stop, something came up from Adobe Acrobat on my computer. But also I want to go back a little bit. First of all, I have always said that I would have been a doctor, probably like an ER doctor, if I couldn't discover, if I wasn't blessed with the ability to sing. Like that was my dad was a doctor, but I am always been very drawn into like being a doctor. I don't know. I like the science behind it. I love all of this. Hello, everybody who's logging on and saying hi. Magda, you know you can see the chat, right? On the right side. Okay, good. You can see it. Great. But also, yeah, so dogs and medicine, we have that in common, singing. But I have a question, which is when you went to, I'm going back a little, when you were in, I guess it was university, high school, whatever you call it at that point, and you switched to the art school, were you studying voice or were you studying trumpet? Like what got you into trumpet? I wonder if is there a YouTube video? If I type in like Magda Fishman trumpet, something will come up, right?
אני אשתגע, A-N-I, אשתגע. I'm starting it with a trumpet. But I had phases, you know, I also wanted to be a lawyer and protect women. I wanted to help people. I wanted to be in a profession that helps people. And I always said that God chose for me this profession and I chose it back.
Absolutely.
That's how I really, really feel.
It's weird that sometimes people say, well, was it like a calling or something like that? And sometimes it feels like a calling, but sometimes it just feels like, for me, my moment, and I'm blessed to work at the temple that I grew up at, but I remember the first time that I sang on the bima, and I just remember feeling like at home, like this isn't hard. This isn't, stressing me out, even though I, spend my life being a little bit stressed out, but in the way of when I'm on, I don't know if you feel this way, but like, I think I
said, stressed? Never.
No. I said to my mom last night, I said, man, if I had to focus on my singing, on my voice and my singing, I wouldn't have time to do anything, and that's where the calling part comes in, which is that you show up on the bima and you pray and you sing and those meld together. And that everything else that we're doing behind the scenes can kind of be, it's like my meditation. So, Magda, if you think I do a lot of stuff, Magda does 16 concerts a month, or I don't even know. And she always says, how do you do it all? And I'm like, you're talking to me as if you haven't just literally recorded 8 songs yesterday. So, I mean, right? Like, so I love this connection we've had. And we have so many conversations over Facebook of like, how do you do this? And how do you do this? How do you do the technology?
Mainly me asking you.
True. But then again, I'm not like a freaking unbelievable trumpet player and everything that you do, and pianist. And like, I don't have the instrumental skills at all. So you're way ahead of me there.
Everyone has their talents. You have a lot of talents. And we're very blessed to do the Jerusalem project together, the Women Chazaniyot.
Yeah, Yerushalayim Shel Zahav.
A great experience. And
I looked at it the other day. It has 375,000 views on YouTube. Crazy. Yeah. We should share that at the end, maybe. Okay, so tell me about trumpet, because this is a very interesting, one of the most amazing concerts I got to be in with you was when Cantor did the Stephen Weiss concert at the Orpheum Theater downtown, and Magda was one of the featured. There was 3 acts, and it was just Cantor, Magda, Fishman. It was just you and your trumpet. So tell me a little bit about you and trumpet.
I love my trumpet. I really love her. It's a her, and we're best friends. And I started trumpet because a few reasons. My grandmother's brother played trumpet, and he was one of the jazz founders in Israel. And I just always admired him. And then I studied at the youth center in Jaffa, and I studied piano, but I knew that the orchestra is going to Germany, Austria, and Hungary in a few months. And I was poor. I could not afford these trips. So I just went and I said, what instrument do you need? And that was like to jump into the highest orchestra. Like there are 3 levels, like 3 to 1, like C, B,
And
A.
how old were you at this time?
Almost 14, I think.
Okay.
And I said, what do you need? And they said, oboe and trumpet. So I said, okay. I tried to cover the oboe and my fingers were too small and I couldn't cover it. And I really always loved trumpet, but I didn't know if I'm able to. And I just picked it up and I started playing, like not playing, jazz, but I remember first lesson, I played the whole scale because it's a matter of matching of mouth, like embouchure, and it just fit. And I got to go to Austria, Hungary, and Germany. And I was just, I mean, I had the motivation to be part of it. And I think also it's my attraction to community. I wanted to be part of this orchestra. I wanted to be part of this group of these people, the kids, the youth. And it gave me a great push to actually work. And then after, the same trumpet got me into the army because I was very intimidated by going as a singer, believe it or not. I was scared. There was one soloist accepted, and I was terrified. What if they don't choose me from the whole country? So my trumpet teacher said, go audition with trumpet. And I did. And then I sang with a pianist after my audition. I went into the big hall there and we sang My Funny Valentine, which is Rogers.
Yeah.
And he said, wait a second. And he called the conductor and he heard me sing. And that was it. I mean, I was accepted.
So then you went in, is that where you're like dual singing and trumpet playing really, like, did they use you for both?
Yes,
in the army?
I was both. I was the soloist singer, which was incredible. You ask for a song and a week or 2 or 3 later, you get an arrangement for orchestra and you just perform it. And one of the first songs I sang in the orchestra was Cabaret, from Cabaret. Seriously, in the Israeli army. And sooner or later, you're gonna be mine. Actually, someone else chose it for me.
That's
And
yeah, we did Life is a Purim Spiel for our Sticks Creek Purim Spiel, but it was Cabaret. So to send that to you. Wow, that's amazing.
So that's how I.
That's unbelievable. You have had, you're like the Cantor with a million lives. But it's amazing. It keeps you, I've always looked at you a little bit like a gypsy, like where'd Magda go? Oh, she's moving on to the next place.
I didn't really. It just looks like, I don't know. It looks like it because most of my adult life, I lived in New York. And then after school, I moved to LA. And then I moved to Long Island for a couple of months, and 5 years I was Stanford. So pretty much it was like LA and Stanford.
Right.
I was in New York, but it's just, I'm also like, I was performing a lot in the last year. So it always looks like I'm on movement. But I also very much appreciate and enjoy coming back home and getting to know people around the country. It's so great. I mean, it gives me so much energy and also my colleagues. It's so incredible to spend time with my colleagues and listen to their stories and
tell everybody you're the Divas on the Bima. Divas, what's it called?
So we're called Divas on the Bima, and it's our performing group, and it's Cantor Elizabeth Shamash and Cantor Jen Cohen and Cantor Alisa Pomeranz-Borough. We've been performing together forever, and we're very good friends, and we just we're actually having a few concerts coming up online. I call it our virtual tour. And we're mixing music that we love. It's like all kind of music. It's not only Jewish music, it's a mix of everything.
It's amazing. And I love all of those people too. Like it's the best. Actually, Cantor Elizabeth Shamash, who now is going more by Lizzie, and she's our yoga and just amazing spiritual teacher for the Institute of Jewish Spirituality. So we both are Lizzie. So Divas on the Bima. Yes. By the way, if anybody has questions, please feel free to write them in. So Magda, I have a question that a lot of people, I don't know, I've always wondered, and I'm a little bit unsure of, which is growing up in Israel, singing, being a part of the orchestra, how much like overlap is there between your secular and liturgical or religious music?
Um,
Yeah, that's and how aware, like, is it just a given that it makes sense to sing a Ose Shalom or things like that? That's what I want to know.
so when I grew up, there weren't buses on Shabbat, and everything was kosher. And even if you were not religious, you are religious, because you grow up in an environment that is all about Judaism. And I didn't understand how much I studied, Bible, Tanakh at school, everything, and I loved it. I was even on the street. They used to catch up from Chabad and teach us psukim and sentences, but I really learned about Judaism in the United States. That's the next story that my friend from the army called me one day and he said, there is a Cantor at Sutton Place Synagogue in New York, an Israeli Cantor, and he wants a singer, a woman to sing with him. And I said, I know nothing. I really know nothing, and I don't want to do it if I don't know nothing. He said, well, you're reading music, you're a musician, and you love singing. And for me, that was it. I met Cantor Dov Keren, and we started doing the Simcha service, like unplugged, once a month. And it started to, people came, and he looked at me and he said, go meet my friend Cantor Henry Rosenblum and check out JTS. And this is where
I got chills thinking about that. Like that was the beginning of your cantorial adventure.
Yeah, Sutton Place once a month Simcha service. So I started that, and then Mary came to one of the services, and she said, well, if this is what you want, I'll give you the scholarship. And this is how I went to school.
Remind everyone who Mary is, just because people
Mary
are logging
of Blessed
Mary Rogers.
She wrote the book Freaky Friday and the musical Once Upon a Mattress. She was daughter of Richard Rogers, of Rogers and Hammerstein, and she is mother of Adam Gettle, and yeah, and she really became my family in the States. My wedding was in her apartment, and it was very interesting to see Odi Shama on Richard Rogers' piano. It was such
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, before I left Israel, for a couple of months, I worked in a wedding band playing trumpet to support myself. And the name of the band was Sounds of Music. And later on, I just landed in the home of Sounds of Music. I did not know who she is. I just knew that these nice people gave me a home. And one day I sat and I played the hills are alive with a, and I changed the chords. And she went into the living room and she said, this is not how Daddy wrote it, the chords. And I was like, why does she say that? Why? Who is Daddy?
Right. You hadn't put together who she was.
And I called my teacher that introduced us and I said, Jane, I just played it. And she said, this is not. And she said, honey, do you know where you live? And I said, no, I just know they have all these scripts of Rogers and Hammerstein. So I assume now. So it is a very interesting discovery when I realized. From there on, I played the right chords, I have to say.
Although I'm sure you played them with a jazzified feel, and I can only imagine you doing that right now. I'm sure it was beautiful. Oh man, that is just what a story. So then you go to JTS, and are you a fishman out of water? Are you like the only Israeli? Tell me about that. And are you surrounded by people who like, how did your Hebrew work with, working with all these Americans?
So the Hebrew part went well for me.
Okay.
And I was quite in shock, but I was up to it. I was really eager to know what's out there. I felt like Yentl. And JTS was across the street from Manhattan School of Music. And I always used to look at the other side and say, who are all these women with kippot? Why are they wearing kippot? What's going on there? And then I became the person on the other side of the road. It was so interesting.
What a story. Wow.
Yeah. And I did feel like a fish out of water in the beginning. And I learned everything I know there. And now I even more so, I'm sensitive to people that come from not knowing much, not only about Judaism, but about customs. And I did not know where to bow. I didn't know. I didn't know where to hold the tzitzit. I didn't know really much of it because for me it was Orthodox growing up or secular. So I'm even more sensitive, and I want people to feel comfortable.
Yeah. Do you feel like going to JTS kind of came full circle of like your life as an Israeli child? And this, as you said, kind of a disconnect of like everything's Jewish, but it's not always intentional. It's just you live in a Jewish nation, and then bringing meaning to it once you were in cantorial school.
Yes, I needed that, especially in the United States. I remember one Rosh Hashanah, and I didn't know it's Rosh Hashanah. I lost track. And I held myself because someone called me to say Happy New Year. And I was like, really, it is? And it just, I got like a
whiplash.
Yes. And I was like, this doesn't work for me. I miss, I miss where I come from. I miss my tradition. I miss Judaism.
Right.
And I think it was a good, God up there watched me and said, hey, there is a way to get in back. So I feel good about it.
Do you have a story of, first of all, I found the video and I'm going to share it in a second of Magda playing trumpet, which I'm so excited to show. But do you have a story of, I've never asked this before, of how your family got to Israel?
Yeah, they left Romania. My grandparents were Holocaust survivors. My grandfather was saved by playing accordion. And he met my grandmother by getting the accordion from her home to actually play for the Nazis. They didn't speak about it much. Then they had to wait till 66, I believe, to be released to Israel, I think, without anything, one suitcase or so.
Where were they before they stayed in Romania? Before they came to Israel?
They were waiting to get the papers to go to Israel. My grandfather was a violinist, and once they found out, he was fired. So then they waited all this time. For me, a big closing circle. I have another story about that. I performed with a Yiddish theater about 3 years ago, I think, in Bucharest, in the Jewish theater, on the same stage he was on. And that was like an emotional experience for me. And then in 66, they went to Israel with my mom and my aunt. Yeah.
So they had quite a 20 years between the end of the Holocaust and finally making it to the promised land. Do you have any stories about, I mean, it sounds like they didn't talk much about their experience, but it must have meant a lot once they landed in Israel.
They mainly went to Israel because their families escaped before them at night, secretly, and suddenly they found themselves alone in Romania because people would leave quietly. So they wanted to be back with their family. But yeah, they really didn't speak much about it.
Yeah, I've learned that more and more. Actually, I was blessed to be on a trip with a clergy cohort to Germany. And it was amazing, just even on the other side of German grandchildren of Nazis and stuff like that, who talk about how their grandparents on the other side don't talk about it at all. So I feel like we at least did talk about the Holocaust in the United States more than anywhere. And with the rise of anti-Semitism and just bigotry everywhere, it keeps bringing me back to the importance to never forget and to keep talking. It's just not that often that we get to say to someone like you, how did you land in Israel? Forget how did you land in the United States? Although it sounds like you love being in the United States. I mean, do you feel like you'll ever go back to Israel?
I love Israel. I didn't know. Sometimes you can't plan life. I didn't plan any of this. I
Yeah.
just knew I want to study, and I got a
Hmm.
scholarship to study in this country.
Faith.
Faith, right? Faith. I landed here with like $150 maybe, and I hoped that I could. All I wanted was education. I honestly couldn't afford it. Like even though I worked in Israel, I was in the wedding band, but I knew that it will be hard for me. And then when I get not that I had it easy after, but I just couldn't. I couldn't make it after the army studying. And when I got a scholarship to Manhattan School of Music, I was just thrilled that I can have education. Um, because my mom came to Israel after Romania, and she had to support her family, and she started singing, and she didn't go to study, and she didn't go to the army. So I was really determined that I want to learn and I want to study. So I had no plans. I just wanted to get my degree and continue, and then everything rolled and happened. And I sometimes say, like, I can plan as much as I can plan, but there is somewhere a bigger plan than I plan.
You
So
plan and God laughs, that's for sure.
yeah.
I'm just sitting here in awe of the fact that we are exactly 1 year into the pandemic, and just how blessed I feel right now to talk to you 1 year in. Like, this is a fantastic celebration of Think About It Thursdays, to have you. So let's take a moment so you can take a swig of water, and I'm going to show this video. Do you want to say anything about it?
Oh, אני אשתגע?
Yeah.
I love this song. It's translated from Spanish by Ehud Manor, who was an amazing lyricist. You would have loved him. He translated a lot of musicals into Hebrew.
Amazing.
And I just love it because of its speed and its rhythm and the Latin flavor. And it's actually originally with guitars, but I adopted the trumpet in.
Trumpet. Okay, so what we should do is I'm going to show this video. Think about if there might be one little thing you want to sing live if you want to after this. But
Okay.
I'm going to turn you off for a second so you can take a break. Hi, everybody, and here it is. Hold on a sec. Yes, there is absolutely sound. Hold on. Wait. Hold on, you can't see me. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. It should work without, I had muted myself. Let's do this again. I will not mute myself. 1 second, because it's too good. We only wasted 30 seconds. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Tell me if you can hear me. Magda, if you give me a thumbs up, I'll see you in the chat.
So would you please welcome back, by deafening popular demand, the incredible Cantor, Magda Fishman. שתאמר שלום, אני לא מבינה איך הגעת ידנו. אם נתלך את זה יגהנו מושלם, כאשר תמימה זה יהיה סוף העולם. אני אשתגע, שתאמר שלום, אני לא מבינה איך הגעת ידנו. אם נתלך את זה יגהנו מושלם, כאשר תמימה זה יהיה סוף העולם. סיוט כזה עולה אותו דמיון, בוא ביחד נעצור את השעון. זוהי אהבה שאין בה היגיון, זוהי אהבה שתיגמר בביזיון. אני לא יכולה לחשוב מה זה שיגעון, מדליקים מהדרון. אתה ראשון נגיד, אתה תהיה האחרון. כזה עולה הכל דמיין בו ביחד לעצור את השעות זוהי אהבה שאין בה היגיון זוהי אהבה ששיגה בו בגיזיון אני לא יכולה לשמוע אבל השגרון בגיבה הגרון אתה ראשונה התאבדתי האחרון אני לא מבינה איך הגעת ידלו כי תצא ללכת זה יגהנום שם כשאתה ממבט אין סוף העולם אני אשתגע כשתאמר שלום אני לא מבינה איך הגעת ידלו כי תצא ללכת זה יגהנום שם כשאתה ממבט אין סוף העולם כזה עולה כל דמיון בו ביחד לעצור את השעות זוהי אהבה שאין בה היגיון זוהי אהבה ששיגה בו בגיזיון אני לא יכולה לשמוע את השעות בגיבה הגרון אתה ראשונה התאבדתי האחרון כזה עולה כל דמיון בו ביחד לעצור את השעות זוהי אהבה שאין בה היגיון זוהי אהבה ששיגה בו בגיזיון אני לא יכולה לשמוע את השעות בגיבה הגרון אתה ראשונה התאבדתי האחרון
That is just insane. I just have to say, like, that. Everybody, please chat, like, applause in the chat. Oh, look, Valerie already put a big applause. It's just, like, literally, it's like doing this to me. Like, you literally sang, like, 1,000 words and played trumpet. Like, it's just, oh, it's amazing. Like, in another life, I'm going to come back and do that. Wow. And you could just, I just feel like your spirit really comes through. And it's amazing that you're like, neshama literally comes through that trumpet. And then you can sing. It's just, it's mind boggling to me. Okay. So I asked, I know I might make you blush.
The Romanian blood.
Okay. So do you have something I have to find something. Wait till you see Magda's little boy. I'm going to find something really quick so that we can show him singing while you sing right now. So I'm going to turn myself off for a moment and give you the stage.
Okay. Okay. So I was just thinking that in the last year, every day is a Shechianu moment. And I feel grateful every morning that I wake up and every night I go to sleep and I have a roof and food and I'm able to be part of the community that can support others. Very blessed to do so. Not every day is easy and it's not like there are no challenges and everything is pink, but I feel like I'm part of the world in everything that is going on. So I co-wrote this Shechianu with Bet Styles and I didn't plan to play and sing, but I will. Because the keyboard is right in front of me. So I'm wishing
Thank you.
I'm wishing you all lots of blessings and health and healing. And may every day will be a Shechianu. And may you find in every day something that you're waking up and you're feeling grateful for. It's called, people call it count your blessings. And I just adopted the Shechianu. Even if we have one Shechianu moment a day, it's a blessing, especially nowadays. Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam. Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה, שהחיינו וקיימנו אתה אדוני, ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. יא נה 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 נה, יא נה 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 נה, יא נה 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 נה, יא נה נה יא נה 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 נה, יא נה 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 נה, יא נה 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 נה, יא נה אמן, 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 אמן,
Oh, so gorgeous. So you wrote that with Beth Stiles, you were saying?
Yeah,
right?
I started writing a lot in the last few years, and I love writing. So I love co-writing. I love writing with my colleagues and people that love to write, and we connect. So I love it.
And I would say, you know, I wasn't aware of Beth Stiles' music at all or who she was until you started doing videos with her. And now I feel like she's like one of the biggest names of people who, you know, people who are putting out new music and also producing music. People are writing if you see in the chat. But we'll both be a part a week from tonight of the Miriam's Table. There's lots of, hopefully you will. There's lots of people involved, and Beth Stiles is producing this event. It's like a woman's Seder. So check it out on Facebook. If you type in, I guess Miriam's Table, it'll come up. Or look at Magda's page or Beth Stiles' page, because it should be really awesome. But wow. So we're talking about a Shehechianu moment, and, you know, maybe call me cheesy today, but after you told us the story of your family and your grandparents who are Holocaust survivors and just their whole story, and then how you got to Israel and how you got to the United States, it's amazing. You know, I'm obsessed with Magda's son, Yair, who's now 7.
He's going to be 8, God willing, this month.
God, he's going to be 8, yes. That next week, right?
Yes.
Next week. And he is this beautiful soul. Forget about the fact that he's an amazing singer, which I'm about to show you. But, you know, it wasn't enough for Magda to be who Magda is. She had to have the cutest kid in the whole world. And listen, I only know him through his YouTube videos. But I found the God Bless America, and to me, okay, wait till you guys all see this. But like, really, Shehechianu, you've had a Shehechianu life. Like, thank you, God, for bringing your family to this moment to survive, to have you, for you to have gotten a chance to live in New York City with Mary Rogers. Like, what? Like, there's been so many things that have led you to this moment. Trisha, we're actually, Miriam's Table will be in highlights this week too, so you can register or email me and I'll send it to you. But I'm going to show, and then we'll talk for a last few minutes after this, but I'm going to show this video. Do you want to say anything about your family or Yair or anything?
Actually, you want to say something about you?
Oh,
I feel like we should all interview you because I think you are incredible and you have this incredible life. And I just look at you. I'm not just being nice to you right now. I look at you in awe, like a lot. I followed everything you did since the pandemic started because suddenly it was there for me to do it. And I just truly appreciate everything you do and who you are. And I'm actually curious for all of us to interview you one day, like because I think it will be hours of interviews and music and things you created and talents that you have. So I feel like we should interview you like for 5 hours.
I feel that way about you right now. I feel like besides the fact that I'm a triplet, which is probably the most interesting fact about me, that I don't have a ton of, I don't have a life, a crazy life. Like to me, I'm in awe of the life that you've lived. I feel like I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I could give you the interview in a second. Yes, no. I was a triplet. I had a very simple childhood and found my way through theater and stuff. But I feel a pretty like simple life.
You're doing a lot of things.
Uh-oh, did I just freeze? Uh-oh, we all just froze. Did we freeze?
We're frozen.
Froze for a sec. We're okay now. All right. So one day you can interview me. I can't promise that I'll have much to say, but sure. Maybe we'll do a reverse Think About It Thursdays, and I'll have a couple of the past guests come on and interview me. Okay.
Yeah,
as long as you say yes, Magda.
Yeah, Yair can interview you. So my son Yair was born in Cedar Sinai.
Me too.
You see, and he is a sweet kid, and he loves singing, and apparently he loves acting, and yeah, he's on the roll, and he loves like you editing videos, and he loves
like I don't know how he does this, but somehow my 7-year-old son can do technology. So we have to set a date for Yair to interview me. That will be the highlight of my life. Okay. In the meanwhile, here we go. Do you want to say anything about this God Bless America?
It was actually a year ago when the pandemic started. He was about 7. And I said, do you want to record God Bless America with me? And he just learned it maybe 10 minutes before, and he was on. And he joined me. So, yeah, that was it. I explained to him what it means, and that's it.
Amazing. Let me find it. Here it is. All right. All right. Here we go. I'm going to keep us on the side or under. I like doing it on, there's so many different ways to use this. Hold on. There we go. All right. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean. home. God bless America, my home. Sweet
He disappeared. Yair made a cameo. Yair, you want to come say hi?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Yair. It looks like you got your pandemic haircut. Did you get your haircut? Yes. Yeah, Yair, it's so good to hear you sing. Is it your favorite thing in life to do? Besides an iPad or video games or something? Yeah. They're like the same.
Grande perfumes.
Wait, say that again. Making perfume?
And using Ariana Grande perfumes.
Yeah,
Oh!
I actually use.
The Ariana Grande perfumes. Well, you will have to teach. So Yair, I have a question. Do you think that you'll come back one day and interview me on this program?
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Like, okay, we're gonna have to think of what kind of questions you'll have to ask me. Okay. Do you have anything else to say about your mom to the people who are watching? That you love her? You don't have to say. Oh, okay, good. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for letting us play that beautiful video. What a funny kid. I want to say one thing, which is Carol asked, do many Cantors have a theater background? And I find this to be an interesting question. I used to say, oh yeah, but you know, we're not just theater people. But if you look back at the golden age of the Cantorate, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, many Cantors were actually came from the opera world. And the Cantorate was highly influenced by like that classic legit sound. And I do think there's a trend of Cantors who either have theater backgrounds or kind of indie writer, right? Like folk backgrounds. Would you say that's true, Magda?
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
Also, when you think about the theater work, you know, the connection to text and the connection to the meaning of it and living truthfully in the moment. Every Shabbat when I pray, I live truthfully in the moment. I'm not acting. I live it. I really live it. Mm-hmm. And it's something that stuck with me. I was, the part I didn't share with you was 2 years of studying at William Esper Conservatory in New York, acting. And that's what I keep hearing from them, live truthfully in the moment. Because when you do like a few shows a week and it's the same thing, you have to find the connection in your heart and soul to that moment that is real and true. And I took a lot from my training in acting and singing for the honesty and realness of things. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, I actually wrote a paper in cantorial school about how preparing for prayer was very similar to preparing for a role in theater. You know, you get the context and the history and the meaning so that when you pray, you can pray as authentically as possible, right? We've all seen actors or cantors who feels like they're not connected to the material, and whether the material is ancient liturgy or a Sondheim song, you have to connect in a very similar way. And I think both of us have found that space where, somebody came up to me like 8, 9 years, 10 years ago and said, it's like Shabbat the musical, right? And at first I was very kind of upset by this comment, like it was a very negative comment. And then I've thought about it over the years, and I'm like, well, as long as I'm connected to the material, that's the most important thing. And how each cantor manifests, how their voice manifests is going to be different, right? Some people are more operatic, folk. Some people play trumpet. But yeah, that's been an interesting thing to navigate over the years.
Yeah, and you had people like Richard Tucker, and when you look even ritual, there are the Levites and the preparation in Beit Hamikdash. There were rituals.
Yep.
So I think yes, the some of us that come from theater and music background and adopted some of our training, I think that's don't want to speak for everyone, but I think we can, like two of us are looking at each other, we do connect to the honesty and realness of the moment and the place and the space that we're in, because every space matter. So I think we took a lot from the acting, and again, it's like we're not acting, it's real, but that's the beauty of the realness. Like when I think a good actor is someone that really lives,
or someone who you watch and you don't realize that they're playing a different character because they're so authentic they're playing it so authentically. And that's where I think being a cantor is if you're playing a part, if you're playing the part of singer instead of prayer, it's very clear. And
yeah, it's finding the constant connection within yourself. I think I did so much work to find myself in this, in my years at JTS, to find the real truth me that is in this space, in this situation, standing in front of God, standing in front of a congregation. Like it's a whole world. So
amazing. Well, Magda, we could talk for hours, but
yeah.
Thank you so much. You can find Cantor Magda Fishman on Facebook and Temple Beth L, right? Is that?
Now I'm at B'nai Torah. I'm at
B'nai Torah.
Congregation B'nai Torah in Boca Raton, Florida, the sunny Boca. And I'm happy. Thank you so much for hosting me. You're so gracious and so collegial and so nice to your friends. And I look up to you. So I hope to see with you and
yes, we definitely will have to do a collaboration too. So with that, I'm going to end the stream. Thank you, everybody. I will see you. I don't know if I'm seeing you next week, but be on the lookout.